Principles Show Daily Podcast by In40U.
All right, everyone, get ready because today we're taking a deep dive into Indonesia's decision to join BRICS.
It's a big move.
Huge. Now, for anyone who needs a quick refresher, BRICS is that group of emerging economies.
Brazil.
Russia, India, China, and South Africa.
Yeah, they've been kind of shaking things up.
Definitely shaking things up. They want to offer an alternative to, the Western-dominated way of running the global economy.
Right, a different economic order.
Exactly. And now Indonesia has become a full member, which...
got everybody talking.
Oh, it's the talk of the town for sure, and today we're going to break it all down.
I think it's fascinating how quickly this all happened,
Yeah.
Indonesia started as a BRICS partner country.
Back in January this year.
Yeah, January 2025, and then boom, full membership just a few days later.
It's like someone hit the fast-forward button on the whole geopolitical chessboard.
Mm.
What do you think is behind this need for speed?
Well, I think this really shows how eager both sides are to make this partnership happen.
You can just feel the urgency.
Yeah, both from Indonesia and the existing BRICS members.
Now, Indonesia's Foreign Minister Sugiono said that they joined because many of BRICS' goals match up with theirs, like pushing for a more inclusive global system and supporting things like Palestinian independence.
That's a pretty strong statement.
It is. So how does this fit in with BRICS' bigger picture?
It totally aligns with their mission to challenge, the West's dominance on the world stage.
So Indonesia's looking for a bigger voice.
Exactly. They want a platform where their concerns actually matter, and they see BRICS as a way to amplify their voice, advocate for developing nations.
It makes you think, what would a successful bridge even look like?
Right. It's a big question mark, but it's definitely a fascinating idea.
It's like they're trying to play this high-stakes game of diplomatic twister. Can they really pull it off? Trying to balance their own goals with not upsetting other important partners.
And let's not forget about the 2024 BRICS Summit in Kazan.
Oh, yeah, huge turnout.
So many countries showed up, all wanting to get closer to this bloc.
I read somewhere it was 35 membership applications.
That's right. And I think that really speaks volumes about what's happening.
It feels like we're shifting towards a multipolar world.
Absolutely. And BRICS is becoming this really attractive option for countries that are looking for a different, economic system.
They want a seat at the table.
Yeah, where the rules aren't just made by a select few.
Now, focusing specifically on Indonesia, they've got a diverse economy and a lot of influence in Southeast Asia.
They're not just a small player in this game, right?
Definitely not. So how does their entry change the dynamics within BRICS?
Well, it definitely adds weight to BRICS, both economically and geopolitically. And I think that has the potential to shift, global power dynamics even more.
But what about from the perspective of the existing BRICS members? How do they see Indonesia coming in? Is it purely strategic, or are there some concerns there, maybe about potential baggage?
That's a really interesting question and something we definitely need to explore further. It's not just about what Indonesia brings to the table, but also how the existing members see this new addition and how they react to it.
Okay, so let's dig a bit deeper into this whole bridge builder idea.
Yeah.
What does that actually mean for Indonesia practically?
It's a tricky balancing act for sure. On the one hand, they need to prove they're committed to what BRICS is all about.
To their objectives.
Right. So that means getting involved in their projects, supporting their shared goals, and, contributing to the group's agenda, both economically and politically.
But at the same
time, they've got to keep those good relationships going with countries outside of BRICS, even the ones who might not be so happy about this whole thing.
The ones who see BRICS as a threat.
Exactly. And that requires some serious diplomacy, strategic communication, carefully choosing their words and actions.
So they can't appear too friendly with either side.
That's it. Indonesia has to walk that tightrope, reassuring their old partners while building stronger ties within BRICS.
It's like they're trying to invent a new path, a third way, in a world that seems so divided.
I like that analogy. It's like they're saying, hey, maybe there's another way to do international relations.
One that's less about sticking to rigid alliances and more about, working together based on shared interests.
Exactly. It's ambitious, for sure, but Indonesia does have a history of this kind of non-alignment.
And being a mediator.
Yeah, they've stepped in to help resolve regional conflicts before.
So they have experience.
They do, but whether they can do the same thing on a global level within BRICS, well, that remains to be seen.
It's a fascinating experiment playing out right in front of us, and the whole world is watching to see what happens.
Absolutely. And the outcome could have a major impact way beyond Indonesia's borders.
So how could this affect the average person? Why should anyone care about Indonesia joining BRICS?
That's a great question. This kind of geopolitical shift, it has ripple effects.
You think we'll feel it?
Oh, yeah. I think it could touch a lot of aspects of our lives.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Well, for one, the global economy might become less reliant on Western institutions.
More diversified.
Exactly. And that could open up new opportunities for businesses and investors in those emerging markets.
So we could see shifts in where people invest, new trade agreements, maybe even changes to global currencies.
Absolutely. As BRICS becomes a bigger economic force, it could lead to a reassessment of the whole global financial system, which could impact everything from exchange rates to the role of the US dollar.
That's huge.
It really is. And it's not just about the money either. The political landscape is changing too.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. I think this multipolar world could lead to more balanced international relations where power is shared more evenly.
Where countries that have been sidelined get a real voice.
Exactly. Less dominance by a single superpower.
But this is all still unfolding, right?
It is. It's a complex situation with a lot of moving parts, lots of potential outcomes. Indonesia joining BRICS is just one piece of the puzzle.
But it's a pretty significant piece.
It is. It's a sign that we're entering a new era of global politics and economics, and we're watching it unfold right now.
Makes you wonder if other countries are going to try to pull off this bridge builder thing too, or if they'll feel like they have to pick a side.
That's the big question, isn't it? It's not an easy balancing act. You need serious diplomatic skills and clout to make it work. Some countries might be tempted by how much influence BRICS is gaining, but they might not want to jeopardize the relationships they already have.
So how do you think those existing global powers are going to react to all of this? Will they try to adapt and work with it, or are we going to see more tension and competition?
Well, they're definitely keeping a close eye on things, and how they respond will have a big impact on what happens next. I think some might see BRICS as a threat to their power and try to undermine it, but others might take a more practical approach and look for ways to cooperate.
It sounds like we're headed for some major shifts in power with the potential for both collaboration and conflict. That's kind of nerve-wracking, to be honest.
There's definitely a lot of uncertainty right now, but I think there's also a lot of opportunity. We're seeing the old world order crumble and new possibilities emerging. It's both exciting and a little bit scary.
Indonesia's decision to join BRICS is a pretty powerful symbol of all this change, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It shows how the world is becoming more multipolar. Power isn't concentrated in the same hands anymore, and new alliances are forming.
It really makes you think, what's next for BRICS? Will they keep expanding and become a real counterweight to the West? And will we see a more balanced global system, or just more division and instability?
This deep dive has really given us a lot to think about, hasn't it?
We've covered a lot of ground today. We looked at Indonesia's reasons for joining BRICS, the potential benefits and challenges they're facing, and what it all means for the global balance of power.
It's a complex issue with a lot of uncertainty and potential pitfalls, but that's what makes it so fascinating. We're witnessing a major shift in global dynamics right before our eyes.
So what's the takeaway for our listeners?
Stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged. What's happening in the world matters because the decisions we make, both individually and collectively, will shape the future.
This has been an incredible deep dive, and I want to thank you for sharing your expertise with us.
It's been my pleasure.
To our listeners, thank you for joining us on this exploration of Indonesia's move to join BRICS and its implications for the world. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.